controversial Dakota Access Pipeline, construction of which was resumed by President Trump after he took office, is leaking. And it hasn't just leaked once or twice, but 3 times over the last 2 months. And that's before the pipeline even became operational. This adds to concerns of First Nation tribes, which have been protesting the project since April last year. RT's Alexei Reshevsky joins me now to discuss. He's been covering the No DAPL protests long before it made mainstream media headlines. Alexei, these are the leaks the media doesn't want to talk about. Tell us about them.
One of the reasons they don't want to talk about this is because technically those leaks are insignificant. That's according to the law book. Let's go through what exactly happened now, according to Associated Press, which released that it wasn't just 1 leak, but 3 weeks over the last 2 months. Now, the first one happened on March 3rd. That was 84 gallons spilled near Watford City, North Dakota, where the 2 sections of pipeline connected, and this was immediately, localized by the authorities. No damage done to the wildlife. The second one happened on March 5th, just 2 days later, in Mercer County, North Dakota as well, as a result of above-ground valve malfunction. Also, no harm done according to the officials. And the last one, which made quite some noise, happened on April 4th at a pump station near Crandon, South Dakota. That's 84 gallons spilled, and again, authorities said there was no damage done to the local environment. Now, according to the rules implemented by the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, only leaks exceeding 210 gallons can be categorized as significant and thus can, scupper the process of pipeline construction or maybe invoke a further environmental assessment by the EPA or any other agencies. In this case, 3 of those leaks may constitute just about 210 gallons, but not the separate leaks. That's why nobody wants to report it, but still, if you think about it, and if you think about the concerns of the Native American tribes who have been protesting against the pipeline, their basic claim has always been that if the pipeline leaks under the Missouri River, this would poison the water. And you would only need 100 gallons to poison the river and have a really serious environmental damage. So, the funniest part of this whole story, and it's actually the most bizarre part of the story, is that all these leaks are happening even before the pipeline has become fully operational, which is expected to happen within the next month. So the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and all other tribes involved in the protest, they're now ringing alarm bells with in a more ferocious approach, because they're saying, look, this pipeline is not even operational yet. It's already leaking gallons and gallons and dozens of gallons of oil. Imagine what happens when it's fully operational and it's running under Lake Oahe and Missouri River. What could happen then? But as we know, President Trump resumed the construction of the pipeline, and the legal chances of stopping this pipeline for the Native American tribes look very slim at the moment.
All right, Shalom. All praise and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Honors and salutations to you brothers who are doing this work in truth and sincerity. Shalom. Just a quick little impromptu concerning the GAD, the so-called North American Indians. As you can see from the video, they've had 3 reported oil spills. Who can say how many other spills there've been? They don't report everything. You gotta remember, the so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speak of. But that's the reason why GAD was protesting and trying to protect those clean water sources. It's really more edification on the so-called white man being the son of perdition. He goes around, destroys whom he may, because in the power of his hands, But without any further ado, this is Proverb 14:31. He that oppresseth the poor reproacheth his maker. It's like it. He that oppresseth the poor reproacheth his maker. That's the point right there. And when you look up the word reproach it, you go to the blue letter. Get that real quick. Bear with me 1 second, please. It's from, I already pulled up in blue letter. Proverbs 14 and 31. And the word reproach, it says to reproach, because it said he that oppresses the poor reproaches his maker. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is the maker. Said to reproach, taunt, blaspheme, defy, jeopardize, rail, upbraid, shlaki. To reproach, defy, taunt. This goes on to winners spend harvest time, remain in harvest. To acquire, be betrothed. But the main point is to blaspheme. That's the main thing that the so-called white man does. He does everything contrary to how the Heavenly Father and His Son set things up. And this, for a while, well over a year, probably a couple years in the making, this DAPL, Dakota Access Pipeline, to run oil through. Basically, God was protesting it for a long while, and they was getting maced and beaten, and dogs put on them for standing their ground against the so-called white man's agenda to build that pipeline. And it's another wave of plagues that you Israelites gotta go through, you tribes. But it's just another way for the so-called white man to destroy people. And it shows you how really treacherous they are, or treacherously they deal with people. Isaiah 24:16, from the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously. Yea, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. And you say, verse 17, fear and the pit and the snare are upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. Yeah, the so-called white man, they got an agenda, as far as the depopulation agenda. And it mainly involves all people, especially, the so-called Negro, the so-called Latino, the so-called Native American Indians, which are the Israelites of the Bible, the Lord's people. It all goes back to that, and the main nation they want to erase is the nation of Israel, pursuant to Psalms 83rd chapter. But it says the treacherous dealer have dealt treacherously, and only a devil will put oil in your water, man. Only oil destroys some water, which he have to drink as well, or his people have to drink as well. But he don't care, man, because at the end of the day, it's all about money. President Trump, he have I think it's about if I ain't mistaken, it was about $5 million he invested on the DAPL, or Dakota Access Pipeline. So that's another thing you have to keep in mind. And so is money invested in that, and that's what the so-called white man is all about: riches, perishable riches, which really, he get them by deceit. But it's all about money, though. They do whatever for the dollar, or whatever for the riches. This is Psalms 83. I'm going to start at verse 7. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. Hey, so that's the so-called white man to the T, man. Here it is, he's in the power seat, been set up by Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and whom put him in the power seat, because of our disobedience as a nation towards the Heavenly Father and the Son. So the wicked was put in rulership. You can read that in many scriptures. Romans the 13th chapter is a perfect one. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and but they have more than their heart could wish. They're in the power seat. They have all the riches. The elites of this society. Starting with the Rothschilds and the other banking families. But they have all the riches in the earth, and they're still destroying people, and they're still trying to gain riches, and they have all the riches. The scriptures say they have more than the heart could wish. So, and when you go back to the blessing of Esau, that goes back to that. As a matter of fact, I'm not done with that. Matter of fact, let me go get it right now. Yeah, spirit up. Let me go get it. So I'm gonna go get it. Because that's a key thing that's that was said in Mr. Slakia, Psalms the 73rd chapter. Here you go, right here. It says, I'm gonna start at this is Genesis 27. I'm gonna start at 38. And Esau said unto his father, "Hast thou but one blessing, my father?" Going back, the point is, I'm going to Esau's blessing. It says, "Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, "Behold," and here's the point right here, "behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother." And it should come to, well, that's the point, that's the point. I don't want to go any further. But the point is, the blessing was, he gonna get the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above, and the sword. And the sword. Alright, let's go back to Psalm 73rd chapter. It says, Psalm 73 and verse 7 again. "Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish." So, who is that talking about? They're talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. It says, "They set their mouth against the heavens." Remember Proverbs 14 and 31, it said that he that oppresses the poor reproaches his maker, and that goes into blaspheming. So they blaspheming the Most High, and blaspheming Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They're oppressing the poor. Who the poor? Jacob is the poor right now. Esau is the rich right now. It says, "They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression." Hold on. Let me read that again. Verse 8 again. It says, "They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily." If that's not the so-called white man, I don't know who it is, man. Even if you got an average Joe six-pack cracker, man, they speak the same way. They can be poor as shit, trailer trash, But the point is, the so-called white man has all these riches, man, and I mean, you would think that one could not want anymore or need anymore because you have everything. But as you can see, it's not so with the so-called white man. He wants more. He wants to own people now. He don't want to just have all the riches. He want to push for that new world order and own everybody. Especially the Lord's people, you tribes, you Israelites, you so-called Latinos, so-called Negroes, so-called Native Americans. And as you can see, it's more of so-called terrorist attacks is happening, false flags, if you will, attacks, false flag attacks, and just a true evidence that the son of perdition is being revealed, the son of destruction. Fucking, it only takes 100 gallons to contaminate the water, and they spilled well over 200 gallons. So that water is totally contaminated, man. But it's just part of us going through our tribulations, over here in Babylon, and no matter where we at, throughout the four corners of the earth. But just the point of, more edification towards Esau dealing treacherously and oppressing the poor, and coveting fields. And that's another thing that goes into that. He coveting fields. He already took down the so-called Native American Indians, and the so-called he took down us too. Us Reubenites, the so-called Seminoles, and and whoever dwelt along the Americas, the northern tribes. We mainly dwelt in the Americas. He already took the land over and got the riches off of it, all the pleasant things from it and everything. And it just I mean, he's still going on with seeking and trying to find more riches. He do whatever to get it. He does whatever to get it. He kill whole families. He drop bombs on poor people. Man, you name it, man. But anyways, with that, all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, for giving us this truth. Where would we be without it? Without the Heavenly Father's words? But yeah, all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the elder apostles again of Great Millstone, who rule well, and honor and salutations to you brothers who are doing this work in the four corners of the earth, where we scattered abroad too, and keep watching the prophecies, and shalom to the elect of God, shalom to the hopefully elect in general. Until next time, shalom.